If you have high IQ, self-sabotage doesn't look like laziness. It looks like logic, which is why it's almost impossible to catch. There's a quiet, dangerous intellectual trap for smart, analytical people. It's called hyper-rationalization. Most think self-sabotage looks like distraction or scrolling social media. But if you're analytical, it looks like deep thinking. It looks like being responsible. When an average person hesitates, they feel lazy and know it. But when an intelligent person hesitates, they construct a high-level philosophical argument. Why now is not the right time to move? You don't just put things off. You build an airtight, perfectly logical case for why waiting is smart. You tell yourself the market isn't ready. You need more data. You're waiting for a clearer signal. Or that you are simply being strategic. You aren't being strategic. You are using your intellect to weaponize reason against your own progress. Psychologists call this an egosyntonic defense. It happens when your brain rationalizes a failure to act so thoroughly that inaction aligns with your self-image. As a smart, calculated person, you don't feel guilty for standing still. Because in your mind, standing still was the most logical choice. This feeds into a secondary psychological glitch known as moral licensing. Moral licensing occurs when your brain misinterprets the cognitive effort of analyzing a problem as real-world effort. When you spend 3 hours dissecting why a project might fail, mapping out contingencies or debating strategy in your head, your brain fires neural pathways similar to real execution. You walk away feeling drained, satisfied, and morally vindicated. You feel like you worked. But in reality, nothing moved. Not a single variable in the physical world changed. You simply burned mental currency to purchase the illusion of achievement. Think about how many times you've solved a problem entirely in your mind, felt a strange sense of relief, and then completely lost the drive to execute it. That wasn't a loss of motivation. That was moral licensing. Your mind rewarded itself for the mental rehearsal, completely skipping the real-world execution. Be brutally honest with yourself right now. Are you currently putting off a major goal under the excuse that you're still researching? Drop a comment below with the one project you're overthinking. Naming it publicly is the first step to breaking the loop. This creates a terrifying asymmetry. Your intellect becomes a sophisticated system for protecting your ego from exposure to reality. Because as long as an idea stays in your head, it remains perfect. It cannot fail. It cannot be judged by the market, rejected by an audience, or broken by reality. The moment you move an idea out of your head and into the physical world, it becomes messy. It becomes vulnerable. Your brain subconsciously knows this. So, to protect your identity as someone competent and intelligent, it keeps you trapped in the analytical phase. It convinces you that one more revision, one more framework, or one more week of research is necessary. You become a master curator of potential, standing in a room full of unopened blueprints, convincing yourself that planning a house is the same thing as building one. If you stay in this loop long enough, your relationship with action permanently degrades. You start to view raw, imperfect execution as something primitive, something done by people who don't think deeply enough. You begin to look down on simple, direct action, because it lacks the intellectual complexity you've accustomed yourself to. But the cold truth of reality is that the universe does not reward the complexity of your thoughts. It only responds to the force of your output. A crude, imperfect action taken today will always compound faster than a perfect strategy that remains trapped in your head. To break out of hyper-rationalization, you must change how you measure intelligence. Stop measuring intellect by how deeply you analyze a scenario. Start measuring it by how fast you bridge insight to action. The moment you build a complex argument for why you shouldn't act right now, pause. Recognize the game your mind is playing. Strip away the sophisticated vocabulary. Strip away the strategic frameworks. Ask yourself one brutally honest question. Am I actually mitigating risk, or am I just using intelligence to hide from friction? When you realize your logic is just fear wearing a suit, the illusion shatters. You realize you don't need more information, more clarity, or a better strategy. You just need to lower your standards for how clean the first step has to be. Stop letting your mind outsmart your ambition. Stop rewarding yourself for thinking about the work instead of doing it. The most dangerous form of stagnation isn't being stuck in the mud. It's building a comfortable, highly rationalized home inside of it. If this hit a little too close to home, hit the like button and share this with someone who spends months planning a project but never actually launches it. Step out of the framework. Kill the analysis. And let reality fix what your head couldn't. If you want to understand the exact moment your mind switches from making excuses to taking relentless action, watch the video on screen right now. Don't let your brain rationalize. Clicking away. Watch it next. And subscribe to Hippu Matrix if you're ready to stop negotiating with yourself.